back. This is Steve Sanson, Andre Haynes of Veterans in Politics. Today's guest is going to be John Drake, who's the Republican candidate for Nevada State Assembly. Oh, I take that back. Nevada State Senate District 11 and a Veterans in Politics endorsement recipient. And then we're going to have your buddy, Brent Howard, president of BHI Bookkeeping and Larry's Villa. So what's going on there, Andre?
Hey man, just relaxing and enjoying the weather, checking out these elections. What do you think about it so far?
I don't know. I was having a conversation with Judge George Assad former Judge George Assad on my way up here, and he was expressing his his disgust with the current administration, and he was talking about how the vets are not being treated right. Veterans need to have their own vet card like TRICARE, like they do with the reservists, and how it takes a long time for a veteran to be in the VA system to get help that they need, and how veterans are being disenfranchised as far as casting their ballot in the elections. So we're having that conversation about that a little bit.
Tell me more about this with the ballots and the vets.
Oh, apparently veterans are not really well. Veterans, reserves, active duty military personnel that are overseas, they're having problems casting their ballots in the elections, meaning that they're not being provided a way to cast their ballots, or it's taken a long time for the ballots to get to them and for them to fill it out and get it back to their respected state or city. Right.
You would assume, since they're out there defending this country and the quality of life that we all enjoy, that they be top priority.
You think, since they're fighting for everybody else,
that's the least we could do.
Since they're fighting for everybody else to have the right to vote,
there would not be anything to vote on.
Exactly.
If it were not for them.
Well, they're always the ones that's getting crapped on. You know, it happens every single time. It seems like the ones that do the heavy lifting are the ones that always get crapped on. It's just like, you know, I put some folks in front of people that could get rid of this administrative order release, and I don't want to mention any names right now because there's a lot that's going on with that. Anyways, I put some folks in front of this one person that could get rid of the administrative order release, and once the administrative order release has been taken out of the Clark County Detention Center, this happened on Monday. Then this person felt that his ego surpassed him, and he doesn't need the little folks. Let's call them that. He doesn't need the little folks anymore because he got what he wanted. So, yeah, and I'm gonna make this person my pet project. By the way, just want to put it out there that he's gonna be my pet project.
Well, hopefully he's listening.
I hope he is.
He makes a phone call and maybe sits down and has lunch and tries to make it right.
You know, these are the type of people that can't handle the heavy lift, and they have other people to do it for them because they're either coward, wimp, but they put on a great persona that they're a big bad wolf, but in reality they're just a piece of shit. You know, and that really annoys me. Because, you know, when you believe in a cause and you put yourself out there to help somebody, and then they turn around and shit on you, you just want to take your foot and just put it so deep up their ass that it comes right out of their mouth. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I hope this person is listening.
I understand. Well,
because the person knows who he is.
Yeah, well, you know, if I may interject, remember Sun Tzu, the Chinese general, in his book, The Art of War. And one of the great quotes he said is, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and every person in business has a competitor." So maybe it'd be good to call one of his or her competitors.
And you know what they say as well. I could be your best friend or your worst
nightmare.
Effing nightmare.
That's right.
So I'm gonna go on the nightmare side right now.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll make that call. So what do you think about this? I was reading about unemployment being the unemployment rate being the lowest it's been in about 4 years, and it's bittersweet to me. It's great, but at the same time,
You know
why?
what?
Why now?
You know what?
Why a month before elections?
I don't even think it's low. I think that a lot of Americans have exhausted their unemployment benefits, and they have getting sick and tired of going to interviews and sending out a resume and getting the same results, which is nothing.
Because a lot of people, my opinion, they promote that they are hiring and that positions are available, but they're not hiring. They're going through the motions, but their intent is not to actually give someone a job, whether that be part-time or full-time.
Well, haven't you noticed that crime has skyrocketed? I mean, look, they just robbed another armored truck the other day. You know?
Where was this? Was it here?
It was here. Yeah.
Wow, man.
Yeah. I mean, things are not getting any better. I mean, they say unemployment has dropped, but unemployment hasn't really dropped. Just people just not in the system anymore. Right. And they're trying to find a way to feed their families, so they are
right. They're doing what
they're thieving.
Yeah.
It's just like the Veterans Court, you know. And I remember when we were talking about Veterans Court, and I was talking to the assistant sheriff and the sheriff at one particular time about why we need the Veterans Court. Instead of incarcerating veterans, we need to treat them. And one of my main reasons is, why would you want to put somebody in prison in the criminal element when you could treat them? I mean, do you want to really make a hardcore criminal out of somebody that knows hand-to-hand explosives, maps, military procedures, standard operation procedures, know how to take commands, know how to shoot a weapon? Yeah, do you really want to make that person a criminal?
Yeah, that's not the person you want to do it to. And speaking of veterans, I got a question for you. All right. I spent some time on the strip last weekend. You know, took my son walking with my girl and stuff, and I counted at least a few dozen people with signs that said homeless vet will work for food and need this or that. Everybody that writes that on the sign, you know, that puts those signs that say, are they vets?
No.
I mean, how do you? You're a vet, so how do you feel when you? Because I know you could look and you could tell if they are or not.
Well, I could give you a great example. Last week, I'm pulling off of the 95 going south, and I exit Lake Mead, and there was this person that held up a sign. I think I mentioned this last week on the air, but this person had a sign up that says "Military veteran hungry, please help." So I wind down my window and I said, "Hey, what was your MOS?" And he goes, "I was a sergeant in the Navy." But that wasn't the question. I didn't ask him what was his rank. I asked him what was his MOS, which is military occupational specialty. So, you know, I humored him and I said, "So you were a sergeant in the Navy?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "So they call you Sarge in the Navy?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Asshole, get rid of that sign, because there is no sergeants in the Navy. There's no sergeants in the Navy. They're called seamen or seamen second class, or there's sergeants in the Army, there's sergeants in the Marine Corps, but there is no sergeants in the Navy." So that way you can know he was lying.
Yeah.
So
wow. We need to do something to get those guys off the street.
I say get out your car and beat the crap out of them, you know? That's what I say.
Yeah.
And now I'm instigating a riot, right? You got any rants?
Oh, there was gas prices. That's one.
There's nothing you can do about it. We're not opening up the pipeline in Alaska, and President Obama won't do it.
So we need to start buying electric cars, huh?
Yeah. Start buying electric cars, brother. Or take the bus. Or carpool. And everybody chips in.
You give me a ride?
No. You don't live up in my area.
So you'll fight for me overseas, but you won't come to the other side of town and give me a ride, bro?
Nah, that's different. You know, I mean, gas prices, man. You gonna chip in? If you're gonna chip in, I'll come get you.
There you have it. The lines are open. If you live near Steve Sanson in this part of town and need a ride, he'll give you one. Call in.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody got my number. Or if you don't have it, I'm sure Google my name, it'll pop up. Well, anyway, this is Steve Sanson, Andre Haynes. Don't go away, folks. We're going to be back momentarily with John Drake, a Republican candidate for Nevada State Senate District 11.
Hello, my name is Steve Sanson. I'm the president of Veterans in Politics International. This country and state are in trouble with budget cuts, unemployment, foreclosures, teacher shortage, dropout rates, terrorism, and a loss of military service members. The outcome of this election will profoundly affect families, both military and non-military. Military men and women are dying for other countries to have the right to vote. As a former member of the United States Marine Corps and the Army, I know how important it is to keep the voters informed. Log on to the website veteransinpolitics.com. All Americans of voting age need to not only vote, but research your choices. The Veterans in Politics organization has taken a proactive approach to supporting candidates who will have the courage to protect all of our freedoms and our Constitution. Visit our website at veteransinpolitics.com. Don't just talk about who you support. Research your choices and vote.
Hey, listen up. If you're a military veteran, if you're related to a veteran, or if you know a veteran, you'll enjoy the Veterans Reporter radio show every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. with me. I'm your host, Chuck N. Baker. Every week, we will explore veterans issues and we'll have guests who will talk about topics of interest to and about the veterans community. And if you don't listen, you'll have to give me 20 push-ups.
This public service announcement is brought to you by Veterans in Politics International. The Veterans in Politics mission is to teach, educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and vote intelligently for a better world, and to protect ourselves from our own governments and a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those in other groups that do not have one.
There are too many homeless veterans, and more help is needed from the VA. Every veteran service organization post should adopt a local homeless veteran.
The funding of VA medical centers is inadequate, and building a VA hospital in southern Nevada is moving at a slow pace. The budget has been flatlined for too many years. The VA is too quick to deny claims and too slow to help veterans gather records in support of claims.
Local politicians ignore veterans and their issues. They perceive a lack of organization among their local veterans and that it won't hurt them at election time. Veterans too often vote party, not veteran issues. All veterans should vote in every election.
The news media give inadequate coverage to veteran issues and events. You must send letters to the editor and voice this concern.
Please contact your members of Congress and Senate and urge them to co-sponsor key legislation in supporting our veterans.
Please support Veterans in Politics. And to get more information, go to www.veteransinpolitics.com.
We're back. This is Steve Sands, Andre Haynes of Veterans in Politics. We got live in studio John Drake, Republican candidate for Nevada State Senate District number 11, and Veterans in Politics International endorsement recipient. John, how you doing today?
Very good, Steve.
John, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I grew up here in this town.
Okay, that's enough. So, Andre, what's going on? Go ahead, John.
That's all right. I've been in this town since 1971. I went to the school district here in town, Clark County School District. Kenny Gwynn was the superintendent. Went through all the school system, graduated from Chaparral High School, and I went to UNLV, graduated at UNLV, got my degree in accounting and finance. And I've been working mostly in the financial services and the hotel gaming realm for the last 30 years. Presently, I'm working at a credit union here in town.
Yeah, which one?
It's called Sierra Pacific Federal Credit Union.
Taking my money out of there tomorrow.
We're gonna go put it.
Let them pay your dividends first.
Killing me, but so yeah, I've been I guess you could say a native of Las Vegas, and this is the first time I'm running. I saw that a lot of people have jumped into the races of late for the last few years. People who haven't lived in this town for a while. And they've come from other places and try to bring their value system here to Nevada. And I, quite frankly, I think that they bring other ideas from other places that are not too good ideas. And I think people here in Nevada have a different type of concerns, understand what's happening here you need somebody who knows Nevada and certainly Southern Nevada. So
where were you before, John?
Before I came to Las Vegas?
No, but I mean, like a few years ago. How come you never ran for office before?
Well, I just saw, I looked around and I honestly, at the time, I didn't think I was that qualified to run. I was looking at that time the opponents, but over the years, I see the who was running, and I say, oh, geez, I mean, they're not much better than I am. So I decided to put my hat in the race.
Okay, so exactly why you're running? What pissed you off, John?
What pissed me off? Well, the gal that was in my district District 9, I got reassigned. I'm in District 11 now.
Right.
Elizabeth Helseth.
Oh.
You remember her?
Yeah. Didn't I see you hanging out with her one time?
Oh, no. I think it was you, man.
They used to be best friends.
No, it was you, John.
Well, I didn't break up that marriage, but I mean...
I didn't break up that marriage.
But she got elected, and... based on the family values, Christian values, and all that stuff, and she's part of my party, and then a total
letdown.
Yeah, total letdown. The family exploded. She ended up resigning her position up in Carson City, and
you sure she wasn't ousted out?
I could have been ousted out too, but I mean, she was like one of the glimmering stars of the Republican Party coming around. They thought she was going to do wonderful things. She was only like 27 years old when
really?
She...
I had stuff on her.
You had stuff on her?
I called her up and told her I had stuff on her, so she needs to do the right thing.
Really?
Yeah, I had a conversation with her.
Yeah. Now I understand she's like moved to Oregon or something like that. She's posing in Maxim magazine.
Oh yeah, she's got a very nice body. Did you
saw it?
I
saw it.
Yeah,
there you go.
Very pretty photo. So with you having a financial background, let's talk money.
You know what? And since Brent Howard is here, I if she was still around, I would have said, maybe she needs to go work for him.
We could put some good PR behind that. but taking into consideration your financial background, talking money, and Nevada, what are some of the things that you would do different to either A, help us get more federal dollars, or B, help us spend the dollars we have better?
One of my number one platform issues is revising PERS, the Public Employee Retirement System. Right now, currently, we're about $41 billion. The state is underfunded, which means that if we had to pay those people today's dollars, the state's insolvent. That's getting bigger every single year. My plan is to revise that, make it more of a private sector type of retirement program. Cash these people out today in today's dollars, and by doing that, down the road we'll have a lot of savings that we don't have to, feed that monster over and over again. I mean, every state's going through the same problems. You saw it in Wisconsin, California, Illinois, all of them. It's hurting the state's way of doing business. That's a big chunk of their budget, and it's every year they keep on feeding the PERS system, and it's driving the state insolvent. So that's one number one issue there. That would be cutting the expense. On the other side of the balance sheet, the revenue. My plan, which is not a very popular plan, is to look at Yucca Mountain as a source of revenue. Many years ago, the government spent billions and billions of dollars trying to get that place so it can store radioactive material. It's about the only logical place in the United States to put it.
But why would you want Nevada to be the dumping ground for the whole country?
Because, Steve, that is a dumping ground. That land that surrounds the Nevada test site never will ever be used ever again.
You know something? I remember going to I think it was an EOD or a DOD, Department of Defense. They were holding some type of rally at the Cashman Center, and I showed up there with then Mayor Oscar Goodman and Councilman Steve Ross, and the DOD folks were explaining how great Yucca Mountain is, and And there is no, we're not going to have any kind of mishaps, like the train won't derail or a truck won't spill or any type of mishaps for bringing in the country's nuclear waste on our roads or on our rail system into passing Las Vegas or through Nevada or whatever the case might be. So they were telling us how great it was. So you know what I did? I had a little Bible on me, okay? And I pulled it out. And I went up and I spoke. And I had the Bible on the podium. And I said, I invited them. They were sitting up front. And I said, you guys, once you come up here, and I want each of you to put your right hand, raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible, and say to everybody in here that we won't never have a spill. No trains won't get derailed. No trucks won't overturn. Nothing would happen. We won't have a spill that we have to evacuate any citizens of Las Vegas or Clark County as a whole. I want you to put your hand on the Bible and say that. They said we couldn't do it. Why is that? You know why? Because nothing is foolproof.
That is
so
correct.
that there is going to be a possibility of a spill or a leakage. Do I want to take that 0.1% probability that we might have a spill? I don't want to accept that, because when you're talking about nuclear waste, a 0.1% probability of a spill is that you're going to have to evacuate everybody.
Well, there's different types of nuclear waste. As you know, have you ever been down to the Atomic Museum?
I've been there.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I took a bus tour from the Atomic Museum somewhere else. I forget where it was.
Right. So you got low, medium, and high nuclear waste. Low could be your pants, for instance. They got contaminated with radioactivity. Those pants will never be used ever again. They have to store them somewhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got low to high. Most of the nuclear waste is solid material, you know. And you're right. There's no
foolproof system.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead.
Now, John, if I can interject, I have a question. Now, you've been your whole life, right, in Vegas?
Yes.
Nevada? Now, here's the thing. I mean, when you look at the, I want to say the 40s and the 50s, when we did all the atomic testing,
right,
and the bombs and the missiles and things here in Nevada, don't you think as a state we've had enough of being a guinea pig for these dangerous materials and tests going on here?
Well, to your point there, yeah, I mean, all that was done out in the desert there, again, that land is contaminated. It's going to be contaminated for the rest of the, after we pass away and then some. Why try to contaminate other land around the United States to house this radioactivity?
Yeah, but where's it going to travel through? I mean, doesn't it have to travel through the 15, the 95 freeways just to get there?
Well, you just mentioned a train.
Yeah,
you got,
it still has to go through Las Vegas. It still has to pass through Clark County.
Well, not only that, Steve, but just going back to when we did atomic testing. There are people right now who have cancer as a result, and the government, federal and state, has had to pay out a lot of money for medical benefits and other things, to take care of them as a result of what we did, some 60 plus years ago. And do we really want to take the chance and do that now and it become another financial burden to the state of Nevada?
Well, to your point there is that a lot of those people who were contaminated is when they did above ground testing, where the cloud moved over to St. George in Utah. Those people got affected. Now, like anything else, the government learned a lesson and said, we're not going to be doing any above ground atomic testing. That's why they went underground. In fact, today, they don't do any underground. It's all simulated.
Yeah, but my point is that they're going to be taking all this contaminated waste above ground, right? I mean, a train is above ground, a truck are above ground. So what happened if one of them spill or turn over? You know what? There was a nuclear physicist that I was speaking to. I believe it was like close to end of last year, and he was telling me how great that Yucca Mountain is, and how great that we need to bring this nuclear waste through Las Vegas and Clark County, and how much jobs it's going to entail. And I asked him to do the same thing, to put his hand on the Bible and tell me how great it was. He couldn't do it either, and he's a nuclear physicist.
Right.
He couldn't do it. Well, nobody wants to do it. Right. Nobody wants to take that 100% commitment. Right. If you don't want to take that 100% commitment, then we shouldn't even talk about it.
Right.
So,
Well, here's the.
it sounds like the opposite sex in a marriage.
Steve wants 100%.
I do because when you're talking about nuclear waste, there is no room for error.
Well,
no room at all. It's zero error.
Okay. Well, here's the fact of the matter is
have
that
a real drink.
you have nuclear reactors around the United States that they can't house any more waste. Okay, they can't store it there.
That's their problem.
Well, you got the same problems at those places that you just mentioned. If the waste ever seeps through their facility and impacts those people there, and you got one in by Oceanside down in
San Onofre nuclear power plant.
Exactly.
Put it on a spaceship and send it to space.
Let's look at the flip side of this. Let me play devil's advocate. Financially, what kind of income would that bring into Nevada if we were to use Yucca Mountain?
Well, all those reactors would have to pay us a sum of money to be yet to be determined by the state. I can't tell you how much right now, but it could be negotiated through those different places.
If you had to guesstimate a figure, what do you think that might be?
It could range into millions, if not billions, of dollars over the term of lifelong. One thing it also would bring in, and I don't know if you guys are young, so.
You know what? I want to stay young and live my days out.
Well, Steve just had a birthday. He's a little older.
You know something, John? When you're talking about nuclear waste and a financial capabilities that it could bring in Nevada, I don't think that we could put a dollar sign on anybody's life. Okay, and you know something, that's the same conversation I had with Commissioner Sisolak when he got $16 million for space over his land at McCarran, and the Trevon Cole family got $1.7 million for the death for his life. I can't relate the two. I just can't.
Let me ask you a question, Steve. Without nuclear waste, we have hazard waste being trucked all around the United States. How many accidents do we have non-nuclear waste that impact?
And you know what? If I was Al Qaeda, I'm not worried about your little hazardous waste. But if you tell me you have some nuclear waste coming in, I'm going to want to go after that truck.
How many trains have derailed? How many airplanes have gone down? But I mean, you look at probabilities. Okay, what's the probability of a major accident happening in Las Vegas? You're going to have accidents. The world is not guaranteed to not have accidents.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't believe that Nevada should be the dumping ground for the country. I'm sorry.
Well,
and that's exactly what we would be, the dumping ground for the country.
But one point that John brought up is that there are other places in America, like you just mentioned in Oceanside, California.
Right.
If I'm quoting you correct. Right. Where they already have nuclear waste and I'm sure other type of waste being stored. So we wouldn't be the only scapegoat, but we wouldn't be the only ones. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
What other kind of things are on the table or could be brought to the table to increase the income that's brought into the state of Nevada that you would be behind if you were to become senator?
Some other revenue producing. One of the things that I would do is encourage businesses to relocate from other states to here. Right now we have a semi-friendly tax environment here, so my big thing is keep taxes and regulations low. Our state next to us, California, which has a worse financial condition than we are, is attract those businesses to come here. By coming here, provides more jobs, more tax revenue to the state. And we've seen that in the housing industry, although our bubble burst, the last few years. But if we can keep this a low tax, low environment, it'll attract businesses here. If we raise taxes, we increase regulations, it's not going to be a favorable place. But you see, California especially, that people can't do business anymore, and so Nevada has an opportunity to do that. So,
how about legalizing marijuana? It's going to be on the ballot, though. But they're gonna put it on the ballot. I mean, it's not. It's going to be in the next legislative session. Let me just rephrase. It's going to be on the next legislative session about marijuana being legalized for medical purposes. But I'm thinking about just legalizing it. Period. And then tax it. I
mean, a lot of states have been talking about that.
I mean, look at alcohol when we had the prohibition, okay? And now we have alcohol. What's worse? You ever heard of anybody getting into a bar fight smoking weed? No, but you heard about people getting in the bar fight after they had a few drinks, right?
Well, let me say this, Steve. You're talking about accidents, right? And affecting people's lives. We had an accident just recently that occurred near my where I work on Spring Mountain and Decatur. A guy was saying that, I mean, they found traces. He was drunk. They say they found traces of marijuana in his system. He took out a bus stop and killed 4 people and injured 8 people.
Yeah, he was drunk, though.
No, I mean, they found him drunk, and they also found traces of marijuana in his system.
Yeah, but they also found alcohol in him, so might as well we do.
Well, first,
might as well. Okay, so I see where you're going with this.
Right.
Because they found traces of marijuana, we shouldn't make marijuana legal. I got that. Okay, so why don't we go back to prohibition and just say alcohol shouldn't be legal either? Because they also found traces of alcohol in the system.
Right,
tit for tat, right?
Well, initially his alcohol level was below the legal limit. And that's the bone of contention right now, saying that he was drunk.
And he told the paramedics, hey, did I make it to the liquor store? He wasn't saying, hey, did I make it to the marijuana dispensary?
Yeah, well, there's no marijuana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now going
Go ahead.
Going back to your answer you just gave about Nevada attracting more businesses here to increase revenues. What about Nevada does we don't have a state income tax like California. We don't charge the franchise tax and some of the other things. But on a business level, I know, for example, to incorporate with the Secretary of State, unless you're like a 501c3 government entity or a home-based business, they're going to charge you $200 for the Nevada state business license. Then you're looking at another minimum $100 from the Nevada Department of Taxation. And if you have employees, then possibly taxes, well, not taxes, but another license from the Labor Division. And then you got your local license, which could be North Las Vegas, Clark County, wherever you live. Now, that's not so business friendly. So what would you do about that?
I would go back and then slash those fees, make arrangements with business. Again, like you said, it's not called taxes. It's called fees. Same thing. Also, I may change the subject a little bit, but another of my platforms is also keeping the utility industry, namely the gas company, the water district, and NV Energy, put a moratorium of any rate increases over the next 3 or 4 years. Again, that's hurt residents, also hurt small businesses, people on fixed incomes like the elderly people, veterans, and things like that. And those are all monopolies. They call themselves, private companies, but if you don't want electricity, you only have one way to go. You either have electricity or you don't have electricity. And NV Energy, for the last 10 years, has been playing this game with the PUC, the Public Utility Commission. They go there and ask for an increase of, let's say 18%. The PUC comes back with a counteroffer of 9%. And it gets passed, and everybody's very happy.
Because that's what they want in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why they went high, to get exactly what they want.
Right. And then they come back 6 months later or a year later, hey, we need another plant, or we need to do this. They're a private company that should be taking care of their own financial matters instead of going to the ratepayers and imposing these rate fees. Because it's killing us. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the water bill lately. I mean, it's just like through the roof, and it's going to get worse. Like my plan would be no rate increases. You have to figure out a way.
But don't they know that drives people away? People will pack up and just leave and go somewhere else, go to another state. Just making people leave if the utilities are so high.
Yeah, that's my point, Steve. Is that just to your point too? Is that don't call them taxes. We're going to impose those fees.
Yeah, they just gave it another name, but it still comes out of your pocket.
All right, John. Do you have a website or any type of contact information?
Sure, it's www.drakefornevada.org.
Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Steve.
This is Steve Sanson, Andre Haynes with Veterans in Politics. That was John Drake, Republican candidate for Nevada State Senate District Number 11. We encourage all anybody that lives in John Drake's Senate District to go out and vote for John Drake. He's been endorsed by the Veterans in Politics International. Don't go away, folks. We got Brent Howard, president of BHI Bookkeeping in Larry's Villa.
Did
you see the press release Veterans in Politics sent out in support of Clark County District Court Judge Alicia Kadish to the federal bench?
Yes, in 2008, Veterans in Politics endorsed 22 judicial candidates in the primary. Only 4 candidates did not become a judge. This was the same year they endorsed District Court Judge Alicia Kadish. Judge Kadish was one of the 18 of their endorsed recipients that is a sitting judge today.
Yeah, they take pride in their selection of candidates, especially when it comes to our judges. Judges are the first line of defense, and they immediately impact our daily lives.
I wonder if anybody knows that Judge Kadish was appointed to the district court seat by former Republican Governor Jim Gibbons to replace former district court judge Joe Bonaventure.
Yeah, as a jurist, Judge Kadish consistently demonstrates fairness, impartiality, and a dedication to upholding the law, regardless of whether she agrees with it. She follows the law and not legislates from the bench, which is what Republicans look for in a jurist.
Yeah, it is ironic, to say the least, that Republican U.S. Senator Dean Heller is now blocking Judge Kadish's federal judicial nomination because she insisted on following the law.
Yeah, what he is using is a questionnaire Judge Kadish filled out in May 2008 from the group Citizens of Responsible Government. They asked Judge Kadish a question concerning the Second Amendment. The question they ask is, do you believe the individual citizen has a constitutional right to keep and bear arms?
I remember that. Kadish responded, I do not believe that there is this constitutional right, but I believe that reasonable restrictions may be imposed on gun ownership in the interest of public safety. Of course, I will enforce the laws as they exist as a judge.
That was a correct statement of law at the time. Individual citizens did not have a constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Reasonable restrictions could be imposed on gun ownership in the interest of public safety. Therefore, Judge Kadish's response demonstrated that she was well-versed and knowledgeable in this important area of the law. Moreover, she indicated she would enforce the law as they exist. In other words, Judge Kadish not only understood the law, but affirmed she would apply it regardless of her personal opinion.
Yeah, later the law changed. In District of Columbia versus Heller and McDonald versus City of Chicago, the United States Supreme Court held that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to possess firearms, and that this right is fundamental and fully applicable to the states through incorporation in the 14th Amendment.
I remember that. After the Heller and McDonald decisions, Judge Kadish again confirmed that she would be bound by the law, not a personal opinion, and as such, if asked the same question today, she would respond, I believe that there is a constitutional right for individuals to keep and bear arms, and I would make clear that I would faithfully apply the binding precedent on the issue, starting with the Heller and McDonald decisions, if faced with an issue regarding these important Second Amendment rights.
Well, we're back. We got Brent Howard, president of BHI Bookkeeping in Larry's Villa. Brent. All right. What happened to Brent?
I'm right here.
Oh,
right there.
Okay. Just trying to figure out how you do this here, Steve.
Brent, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first of all, I brought a little gift for you. This is my book I just wrote, just published. It's up on Amazon. I thought you might get a kick out of that. My first book.
Wow.
Congratulations.
It's all about business, how to be successful in business. And there's my business card.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So tell us how successful you are, Mr. Howard.
Well, depending on the day, depending on the year, life goes up, life goes down. We're in a little upswing right now.
Could I get a loan?
No.
You're not that successful then if you can't give me a loan. Come on now.
I'm here and I'm smiling and I'm talking with you. Must be a little successful.
He doesn't want to be in the same position as the banks.
Hey, you know what? You need to autograph your book.
Sure.
Yeah. And tell us about yourself, Brent.
Okay. Well, I've lived here. I'll start the other way. I've lived here almost my whole life.
Okay.
I run for office 5 times. Assembly, county assessor. I have 2 daughters. I have a business. I have 2 other businesses. One's closed.
We'll promote the business. What are the businesses, Brent? Come on now.
Well, I was getting there. You know, okay. I'm an accountant. I've been doing this 35 years, called BHI Bookkeeping, Payroll, and Income Tax.
You're a CPA guy.
No, I'm not a CPA. I have my accounting degree from UNLV, and I've been doing bookkeeping. The legal word is bookkeeper. I can't use accountant because of politics.
Okay.
I don't know if you know about that. There's a statute.
I don't know nothing about politics.
You don't know. That's why I called Veterans in Politics. Huh? I see how that works.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Howard. Go ahead.
About Mr. Howard. Brent. It's Brent.
Okay, go ahead, Brent.
Okay, so about 6.5 years ago, a client of mine had been doing his books for about 20 years. His name's Larry LaPenta. He passed on, and he left me in charge of his trust, which included 3 businesses, which was called the Rancho Home Center, which I've since sold, Larry's Hideaway, which we closed June 30th. And one of the reasons was this water bill that I don't know if anybody have been following any of this, but they increased our water bill with just the stroke of a pen for no additional water that we got for $5,000 a year. And so that was the last of all these excess regulations that they hit us with at Larry's Hideaway, so I finally surrendered.
So the Rancho Villa was the first one you said?
Rancho Home Center. It was a True Value hardware store. Okay. I sold that to Mr. Ahern about 3 years ago.
Did you make a profit?
Yeah, that one I worked really well. Like I said, ups and downs. Some things work, some things don't. That one.
And Larry's Hideaway, what's going on with that?
Well, actually, we have some positive things going on right now. We closed it and then no one's wanted to buy the place. We had as he was telling me, Mr. Drake, about regulations, and he was talking, well, we need to not have so many regulations. I'll tell you, I'm sick. That's one of the reasons we closed. I'm sick to death of the regulations.
Why don't you promote it to these politicians and have them throw events in there?
Well, actually, you're on the right track, and it's kind of one of the things that we've decided to do. But it started by as soon as we closed, we told the world that it's closing. Why? Please buy it. No one wanted it.
Right.
A month afterwards, the city fire department came into my office at BHI Bookkeeping and cited me and threatened me to throw me in jail if I don't turn the water back on. He came back. Seriously, this is what occurred. 30 days later, he came back and cited me the second time. And he says, on the third time, it's out of my hands. I've given you 3 notices. Well, that's coming up within 2 or 3 weeks. And when I was talking to my wife, Lisa, I says, I'll just go to jail. They can just come arrest me.
Right.
We can go all over the news. You're throwing people in jail because you can't pay this excessive water bill. And my wife says, you're really not going to like jail much. Right. And I said, yeah, you're probably right. I probably won't. Maybe I should come up with another idea. Well, so then I did. My idea was across the street from Larry's Hideaway, there was a place called the Foothills Ranch. Mm-hmm. And the Foothills Ranch got sold to a Dottie's. I don't know if you know the type of operation that they do.
The bar.
It's a bar, but it's...
Great burgers.
No, Dottie's, they don't even serve food. Dottie's just has gaming machines. It's really a mini casino. So they went from a regular bar to the same building, went to this mini casino.
You should be talking with Councilman Ross.
I actually spoke to him on Tuesday.
Look at that.
About that, yeah. How about that?
Great minds think alike.
That's right. Yeah, I spoke to Councilman Ross. I spoke to Councilman Beers. Councilman Beers actually introduced me to Councilman Ross. I just had breakfast
with Councilman Beers yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like talking with him.
Yeah, I gave him my book, too.
Yeah. I was asking him, I said, I'm going to have your buddy Brent Howard on first I said, I'm going to have your buddy on the radio Saturday.
Yeah.
And he goes, which buddy? I said, the one that was standing next to you when you announced you're running for governor and, the bells, whistles went off.
Yeah. He would have been a great governor. I wish he would have been the governor. But
he would have been a funny governor.
That too.
He's very humorous.
Yes, he is, and he's a great guy, and he's done a great job. He's doing a great job as a councilman.
Absolutely.
So anyway, I came up with this idea to switch over to reopen Larry's Hideaway as 2,000 square feet of the building as a Dottie's type, and we've got a name for it, Daisy's Hideaway Casino, and then the other 6,000, which is where we used to do the country dancing.
Right. You're going to have some hip hop and R&B up in there.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to have it as a banquet hall. So it could be. So if you have your wedding there, your next wedding there, Steve, you could have it at Larry's Hideaway. And if you want to play hip hop, then you go right ahead.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So so we'll only be open when people rent it.
Could I invite John Drake to come over?
You could.
Yeah, okay.
Would he come to your wedding?
I heard he's an up and coming rapper. He's got an album he just released.
It's called Nuclear Waste Passing Through Vegas.
Yeah. Oh boy. No, I'm not interested in that part at all. You know what? When I was listening to that conversation, I for doing this for revenue, no, I'll give you my idea on what we should do. You asked about should we do for revenue, so I had to try to write. I didn't have a pen, so I wrote it down there. I think, and this is probably a little bit outrageous.
I don't see it.
See a little. I think they should legalize all drugs and prostitution in the state of Nevada.
So you've been talking with Dr. Stephen Fry then, huh?
No.
Oh, okay.
I actually started. I was on that kick, that idea when I ran first for Assembly District 1.
I wouldn't say all drugs. I'll stop at the marijuana.
Why?
Because it's natural. You grow it.
I was going to ask about the heroin and methamphetamine.
No, what you do is you tax it and insure it. So meaning that the public doesn't pay when they get hooked. That inside the cost of buying their drug is for them to go to the rehab center. So whatever. If you guys want to go do it. Then, and you're safe when you go buy it, because you go buy it at Walgreens or Walmart or wherever.
So it's not laced.
And inside of it is all the tax to pay for everything. The people would come to Nevada in groves. We would build so many skyscrapers you can't imagine. It would be the next coming of Vegas.
I'd go into the rehab business.
That too. It would be. We would grow. That's how we did it the first time.
And I'll be partners with some dentists because the meth messes with people's teeth.
Yeah, they insure it. It's part of the insurance. Hey, I was also
like a
thinking,
solid business plan to me.
What about Obama and all the insurance, right? So I wonder if it's already covered under his new plan. So then why bother anyway?
I don't think so. They don't even have dental coverage in the VA.
No?
That's sad.
Yeah, so maybe that's one thing he should add into it.
Forgot about the vets.
But I just think it should be inside the drug itself, and the actual cost of the drug, which should be a lot less than the people pay for the drug now.
All right. Well, you know what? You got one establishment that's still standing that you haven't sold or you haven't closed.
Yeah.
And what's that one?
Well, my bookkeeping firm is flourishing also.
He's trying to...
DHI Bookkeeping, 2385 North Decatur. We can help you.
You know what?
Books a mess?
We
can help you.
You know what I want to talk about?
Larry's Villa, is that it?
Yeah, because I was gonna have Michael Galati come over and see if he would like to invest in Larry's Villa.
Sure. Do you know him? Would he want to?
You know Mike Galati, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Why not?
All right.
I don't think he'll let it. I don't think they'll let him do that. Though.
Let's talk about
his dad, Mike.
Let's talk about Larry's Villa, though. Tell us about it. What kind of establishment is that?
Well, that's a topless bar. We call it exotic dancing. We're actually this.
Really, it's a topless bar.
He didn't bring any of his employees of the month with him.
No,
he brought the book, but he didn't bring any employees.
I know.
No coupons.
Just me.
No.
I wonder.
And that's where I wanted to have Elizabeth Housett go, so you could probably get her a job there.
Wouldn't that be interesting? We could have a whole show having her on.
Yeah, we could sell tickets.
Maybe there's some passes inside that book. Open that book up. Maybe there's something
just
in
one of my business.
You know
cards.
what? You owe me a lap. Well, not you yourself.
Yeah. Oh, why would you want me giving you a lap dance?
Not you, but you owe me a lap dance for my birthday.
Well, hey, I told the manager. I said, Steve Sanson shows up. Right. You take care of him.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm going to go there.
Your name is on the list.
Do I get a couple of Heinekens too while I'm there?
Do you want them?
Oh, you can't expect me to be sober and have a lap dance, do you?
Maybe you should pay for the Heinekens to get the free lap dance.
Yeah. And
that's probably how he got the book going.
If he's able to pass the bill, you get some free drugs too, Steve. You get high, drunk, and dance all in the same
if John Drake gets his way, I'll walk in there glowing.
You want drunk and high and radioactive. Woodstock.
So like this, the 13th, Saturday the 13th, we're going to have a Halloween contest, and where we're giving away $2,000 in prizes for the best, sexiest women, men, or couples up on stage. So come on down, Steve. Maybe you can win.
Nah, I'm not all in the costume thing.
No. Okay.
No.
What about those pants you just mentioned that you bought when we went to commercial? You said you went to one of these exotic places. You bought some kind of pants, and you wanted
He's making stuff up.
Is he?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's not going to wear them.
So Brent, how long has Larry's Villa been in?
Shoot, I don't know. 40 years or so. 45, probably 45. Yep, 45 years. I think it's a great place. There's a lot of people that love the place. I would like to find more people that love the place.
Well, have you been reaching out to tourists, or are you just locals?
Pretty much locals is what we've been, aiming towards.
Right.
And we have good food there. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I didn't know you had food there.
Yeah, we got food. I actually created the menu. And
chicken?
There's chicken there.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We got food.
So why don't you tell us where it is, in case Randy wants to go.
It's 2401 West Bonanza, which is Rancho and Bonanza.
Okay.
We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Do you have some new acts in there?
A week ago, 2 weeks ago, I think now. Mr. Drake's one of the acts.
He wants to come down and check out the establishment.
Right.
It's probably. I don't know if it's in his Senate district, but
probably not.
But he could like reach over and find out whose Senate district that is.
I think it'd be great to get him down there and to do like an amateur night for candidates running and make it like a fundraiser or something.
Oh, that sounds like
we should start with him.
Heck of a show.
We should start with him. Are you willing to come down?
Nobody's willing to look at my body. So.
No, well, you know what? Maybe he should have a fundraiser down there.
Yeah.
No, I think you guys.
And call it Drake's Exotics or something for Senate. Yeah.
We welcome all.
So, Brent, are you still looking at politics, or are you just done with that?
I think I'm cured. I hope I'm cured. I ran 5 times. The last time I ran was Clark County assessor,
right?
And I felt like it was most connected with my accounting background. And I went through and challenged on 5 different properties and found out all the illegalities that the county assessor was doing. And so much so, while I was running, I sued in court, Douglas E. Smith's court, and to get them to stop doing all the things they're disregarding Nevada Supreme Court decisions, Nevada statutes. They're just disregarding the whole thing. There's no way you actually know how your property value was done. I consider it was done on a dartboard approach. But when I went in August that year to court, and Douglas E. Smith just dismissed the case without a hearing. Douglas E. Smith.
All the district court judges, all 52 seats are going to be up for the election block in 14.
Well, that'd be assuming that I'm going to vote again. I don't believe in voting anymore.
Yeah, you know what? That's a problem with me, Mr. Howard.
I know that.
Why don't you believe in the voting system that you have thousands of men and women that fought for this country, that fought for other countries to have the right to vote, like in Afghanistan recently, and in Iraq, and here you are sitting in the United States and not voting. What's up with that?
I think what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fight for what they think they're fighting for. They're fighting for free elections in the United States. I'm fighting for free elections. I don't believe we have any free elections. I believe it's all decided upon, just like Mr. Drake's race when he's running. He's got, I think he said, 65-35 or about percent Democrats versus Republicans. His chance of him winning isn't very good because the way they district everything. So most of the races are decided upon before you even start. When I ran in Assembly District 1, it was about 65-35. Only a Democrat could win in that race. A Republican couldn't win, hasn't won forever.
Aren't you a Democrat?
I'm an independent now. I'm not a D, not an R. I'm independent.
Weren't you a D when you ran?
Yes, I ran the first 4 times as Democrat.
How come you didn't win?
I ran against the power, and the Democratic power decides who's gonna get the endorsements, who's gonna get the money, who's gonna get the introductions to the right people to make this work. This is not a free election. This is. I believe the United States has turned into something that's very similar to the Politburo of Russia.
So how did John Bonaventura become constable then? Bobby Grunauer.
That's a good question. That is a good question. But I think that race. Was it DNR or was it independent?
It was 2 Ds running.
Was it 2 Ds? Okay, 2 Ds in the primary. So
and one's supposed to be the Democratic star of the Democratic Party, and got his ass handed to him.
Yeah, well, because there was no R on the other side, so the Ds had to divide themselves. I would say that'd be the answer.
Okay. You got a point of contact?
My website is LAS-vegas.business.com, or my phone number is 259-9983.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, Brent.
Sure enough, Steve. Good to see you again.
That's Brent Howard, president of BHI Bookkeeping and owner of Larry's Villa. This is Steve Sansondre Haynes with Veterans of Politics. Until next week.
And I'm proud to be an American where it leads. views and opinions expressed on this program were those of the hosts and guests and did not necessarily reflect those of Vegas All Net Radio, its affiliates, or its parent company.